What they never taught you about the kingdom of Kush. The desert remembers things history tried to erase. Buried beneath the sands of northern Sudan lie the ruins of an empire most people have never heard of. An empire with more pyramids than Egypt. An empire that conquered Egypt itself. An empire Rome feared, and yet somehow, almost nobody talks about it. The Kingdom of Kush. Officially, Kush was just a neighboring African civilization, a smaller kingdom living in Egypt's shadow. But the deeper archaeologists dug, the stranger the story became, because the evidence didn't show a weak civilization at all. It showed power, advanced engineering, astronomy, warfare, trade routes stretching across continents, and rulers so influential they once sat on the throne of Egypt itself. So why were you never taught that? Why does one of Africa's greatest empires feel almost erased? The official timeline says Kush emerged south of Egypt around 1000 BC, centered near the city of Meroe. Textbooks describe it as a trading kingdom, gold, ivory, iron. Then the story usually ends there. But that version collapses the moment you look at the ruins. Because scattered across the Sudanese desert are massive pyramids steeper and narrower than Egypt's, but built in staggering numbers. More than 200 of them, and many were constructed centuries after Egypt's pyramid age had supposedly ended. Think about that. While Egypt's monuments were already ancient, Kush was still building, still ruling, still expanding. But this was only the beginning. Inside the pyramids, archaeologists uncovered carvings unlike anything expected in minor African kingdoms. Astronomical symbols, royal imagery, linking Kushite rulers directly to divine authority. Weapons forged from advanced ironworking techniques that appeared earlier than many historians once believed possible in the region. Then came the discovery nobody could explain: the black granite statues. Massive royal figures with carefully carved African features, smashed to pieces deliberately, not damaged by time, destroyed, heads severed, faces shattered, almost as if someone wanted these rulers forgotten forever. One inscription spoke of kings who ruled all lands from the heart of the river. Another described armies moving north into Egypt itself. And that part is absolutely because around 750 BC, Kush didn't just survive beside Egypt, it conquered it. The Kushite kings became pharaohs of Egypt's 25th dynasty. For decades, Black African rulers controlled one of the most powerful civilizations on Earth. They restored temples, rebuilt cities, unified territories Egypt had lost. Even ancient enemies wrote about their military strength with fear. Rome later called Nubian archers some of the deadliest warriors alive. But somehow, modern history reduced Kush to a footnote, and the contradictions kept growing. At Jebel Barkal, researchers found temples aligned with celestial events so precise, some scholars still debate how Kushite astronomers achieved it. Entire ceremonial complexes were positioned around solar movements and sacred geometry. Coincidence? Or evidence of knowledge far older than we realize? Then there were the trade records. Artifacts from Kush have appeared connected to regions thousands of miles away. Roman goods, Indian materials, luxury items crossing deserts historians once thought nearly impassable. This was not an isolated civilization. This was a global power, but this was only the beginning. Because the deeper historians looked, the more silence they found. Ancient libraries destroyed, records burned during invasions, temples dismantled stone by stone. When foreign powers swept through the region centuries later, Kushite monuments were looted, buried, or simply ignored. Colonial-era archaeologists often focused almost entirely on Egypt, while sites in Sudan received little attention for generations. Some artifacts vanished into private collections, others were mislabeled, and many ruins still remain unexplored beneath the desert itself. Even today, vast sections of ancient Kush remain unexcavated. Entire cities may still be hidden under the sand. Think about how strange that is. One of the greatest empires in African history. An empire that ruled Egypt. An empire that fought Rome. And most people never even hear its name. History calls that an accident. But some researchers believe something else happened. That the story of Kush complicated the narrative too much. Because if Kush was as powerful as the evidence suggests, then entire assumptions about the ancient world begin to crack. Who taught civilization to whom? How much knowledge was exchanged across Africa long before Europe emerged? And how many other forgotten kingdoms were buried alongside it? The desert keeps its secrets well, but every year, more ruins emerge. More inscriptions, more contradictions, and more questions history still cannot answer. So, maybe the real mystery isn't whether the kingdom of Kush existed. The mystery is why the world worked so hard to forget it. And if this empire was erased from history once before, what else has been buried with it? Subscribe if you want the stories history tried to leave behind. And tell me in the comments, lost civilization or deliberate cover-up.